So I'm going to take a page from Nikki's book and provide my responses in a video format. In particular, I'm going to address three questions that Nikki raised to me in her video reply. She first asked me to provide specific examples of how I will use UDL online. I think my acute coronary module syndrome gets me off to a good start, in particular with a video I've created of pulling together a number of pictures with then a voice overlay and also captioning. I'm also looking down the road at a chart that my schema lists in my amino acid module and wondering if there's a better way to do that exercise rather than a chart, perhaps giving some students some options and deciding what's best. Also, I make use of Wisconsin online presentations in a couple of different modules. These presentations add content and also support existing content in a slightly different fashion, so I address the idea of presenting things from multiple perspectives. Nikki asked about additional strategies for my face-to-face labs, and I would really like to highlight one strategy that I'm using in urology this semester. As we discuss cellular elements that we see under the microscope, I have students first read about them in their textbook, then provide some online resources in the form of YouTube video or photomicrographs, and then lastly, when we get into the laboratory, we have a projecting microscope, and so I'm able to take the same specimen that students will be looking at, put it under my microscope, and project to the video monitors located throughout the laboratory what the students are expected to see. And then this allows the students to look under their personal microscopes and look for similar elements. I think this is really valuable in our laboratory because laboratory work is often so many shades of gray and difficult to teach that it can be a challenge, and having the projecting scope really mitigates that challenge. The last question was evaluating changes in terms of feedback and data collection. In my on-ground classroom, I use a variety of check-ins. It might be a little quiz, a one-minute paper, a quick survey, perhaps even an online survey, all grouped under what I call entry tasks, and these simply allow me to gauge where the students are at and adjust my instruction. I also incorporate check-ins throughout my lectures in lab. Again, in lab, this is something very easy to do. If a student finds something unique or different, we can stop the lab, do a quick little check-in on that item, and disseminate that knowledge to everybody. On the laboratory side of things, I also use a checkout. As I mentioned a minute ago, laboratory can be quite gray at times, and I think it's important to do a checkout because students typically have unanswered questions. So in the end, I'm just kind of working hard to integrate UDL into all of my coursework. As a quick little sidebar, I also have to work on differentiated learning as I have a Micronesian student who does have some trouble with the technical sides of the English language as it relates to the laboratory. And while UDL is going a good ways in addressing some of her concerns, there needs to be some differentiated instruction to help bridge a gap here. That's something I've realized recently, and so I will be working on that as well.